I'm Stan Verrett. There wasn't much drama on the court when the Rockets hosted the Lakers Tuesday, but then after the game.
Yeah, James Harden with a "did you hear that" moment. Clock's ticking. But we're going to begin with LeBron James in a "did you see that" moment. Houston, they got some problems. Make that problems, plural. First, the Lakers are in town, and the Lakers are better than 35-14 after one. Are you enjoying the movie? No. Second quarter. Here comes the LeBron James moment and we saw it in a highlight.
So you're going to get on Twitter now?
No chance. But look at that. LeBron James, ball in air, turns around, said something to the fellas on the bench. What was it?
Who was the teammate?
Dennis the Menace. He said, "Bet you won't make it." And in order to make a bet official, you either got to have a handshake or you got to look a man in the eye. So he said, "Bet it." And I turned around, looked him in the eye, and I said, "Bet it."
Games, first time as a Rocket. A lot of unhappy Texans. It's 117-100. Lakers.
We're just not good enough. We don't. Obviously, chemistry, talent-wise, just everything, and it was clear. Like I said, these last few games, I love this city. I literally, have done everything that I can. This situation is crazy. It's something that I don't think can be fixed. So, thanks.
Woo! Since Houston took a 1-0 lead over the Lakers in the conference semis, Lakers have wiped the floor with them. LA has won each of its last 6 by more than 14 per. LA has spent 58% of those minutes leading by double digits. Houston has only held the lead for 10 seconds total in their last 4 games. Bring in Adrian Wojnarowski, and listen, it's no secret that James Harden wanted out of Houston. He made that very clear already, but how does Tuesday's comments push that envelope?
Well, this has been a clinic in how to try to force an organization's hand, underperform on the court. The way James Harden has done lately, your team gets blown out, and then to go into a news conference and talk that way as Harden did tonight. Houston has been engaged with teams about trade scenarios with James Harden very consistently since he asked for a trade. Certainly their price remains steep. They want, good young players. They want first-round picks. They want pick swaps. And while, I think there's still several teams seriously engaged, Houston has yet to see the deal, that would allow them to make a trade. But these things can come together quickly. They can move off of something they're asking for. A team can offer a little more, and then all of a sudden you have a deal. But right now, this is a difficult situation for the Rockets. This is a team that is very much in turmoil with the way they're struggling. And then obviously the fact that Harden has started to vocalize his desire to leave town, which he hadn't really done before.
When you say there are several teams engaged, are you at liberty to say those teams or what some of the packages might look like?
Well, listen, I think, from the very beginning, teams like Philadelphia and Brooklyn and others around the league, Philly and Brooklyn are 2 teams, who are the, preferred destinations for Harden. And when a player of that caliber is available, you're going to check and see what the price would be. And so far, the price has been too high for everybody in the league. And I think Houston's believed it's had time on their side. Remember, Harden is under contract through next season. But, this is ultimately an untenable situation. They've given him their word that they're going to try to find a trade. I believe they have been trying to find a trade. But right now, and listen, I don't know that it helps Harden to not be playing at a high level, although, I think teams around the league know that, James Harden is still perhaps, certainly an all-star level player, perhaps maybe an MVP level player when he is motivated and wants to play. It's clear right now that he's not fully engaged in that Rockets team. He essentially said so much, but I think he's speaking even louder with his play on the court.
Adrian Wojnarowski, you got a no trade. Thanks for joining us.
Things are getting bad in Houston, as you can see. He doesn't think it can be fixed, and he just got up
and walked away. There's a lot of different ways you can take this, but I think we talked about it in the pregame show. It just seems like his days in Houston are numbered. But Rob, here's the thing. He has a job. He's under contract. He's got teammates, fans. You got to come out and give better effort and play for this team.
Sometimes people can get confused with what's the bigger picture. You know, it becomes an I thing instead of a we thing. You still have to play for your teammates. You spent too many times on that court, too many times in that locker room with those guys. So I know you have relationships with those guys, and you shouldn't want to let them down. That's one of the things that I always took pride in myself. I really valued my teammates. You never want to do anything to put them in a bad situation or make the team look bad. And I think with James is he needs to just take a look in the mirror and say, hey, I'm still getting paid more than, 9/10 of the league. I'm still, one of the marquee players, and I have to keep that light on me. I have to keep the right light on me, not a bad light, because right now he's putting himself in one of those positions that he doesn't want to be in. That's going to, taint his career or taint his image.
And listen, James, we're not there on the day-to-day. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know what conversations he's had with Rockets management, but the optics of it, it's just a bad situation.
Yeah, I mean, what we do know is that the Houston Rockets believed in James Harden enough to sign him to a nice, fat contract. And I'm from the old school. When you sign a contract, you honor it until both sides, come up with a bipartisan decision on what they want to do. Obviously, he's not happy there, but that's where he is, and that's his contract. And you have to make the best of it. You and I signed with Spectrum 10 years ago.
We did.
We didn't cry. We didn't win a championship 9 years. We hung in there.
Took us a long time.
Now look at us.
Took us a long time.
No, but really, Rob's right. You can't put that kind of negative light on yourself. I mean, you just go out and play the game. That's what you grew up wanting to do. Just play the game. Then you have conversations with front office of what you would like to happen.
Yeah.
You don't do it publicly like this.
And with that said, I think because at the end of the day, no matter how much Houston wants to listen to James, because it sounds like they're still trying to find ways to make this work, they're not just going to accept anything in return. Not for a caliber player like that of James Harden.
Never are.
Ever. And I just saw a stat right as we went on air for postgame. He had 16 tonight. It's the first time that James Harden hasn't scored more than 20 points in 4 straight games. The last time that happened for him, he was coming off the bench in OKC in 2012.
Wow.
So you think about the way in which, from the organization standpoint, for him now personally, and the toll it's taking, as he just said. When he says that he doesn't think it could be fixed, I think they're there.
Listen, other teams are in these situations sometimes. We saw what happened with Anthony Davis and how that was handled. And then David Griffin comes in, new general manager there, and he does a nice job getting Brandon Ingram and Josh Hart and Lonzo Ball and draft picks and then making some other moves. So, Houston, like you said, Allie, it's tough, guys, to get – you're never going to match a player like James Harden, right? So you have to – you're going to be giving away your franchise player that James said you invested everything in for years. You're not going to get that same thing in return. All right, Anthony Davis goes 7 for 8 for 19 points. He's speaking with Mike in the media.
Yeah, Eddie, if we could start with your reaction to the LeBron no-look 3 and what you caught. Did you hear Dennis say that he wanted to make a bet and all that? What was your perspective?
I was at the scores table, so I didn't really hear what was going on. I saw him pump fake and shoot it, and then I looked at the other end of the floor, and I looked back. Everybody was going crazy. So I thought he just made a shot, and they were like, man, that's tough. That's tough. And so I walked back down, and I was like, what happened? And they told me. So I have yet to kind of see it. I know it's probably all over, social media, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty crazy.
All right, and then just about the game, your reaction, being able to have efforts like that back-to-back defensively, you said that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think we did a good job on a team who can get hot from downtown, a team who can get hot scoring in general. We were very on point defensively tonight and the other night.
Last one, Colleen Kane.
Hey, Mitch, just kind of going off Pat's question to open this, just with the uncertainty for you going into the offseason, how do you kind of process that this potentially could be your last start with the Bears?
Yeah, I think it's emotional, and it wasn't in the locker room, but we've been through so much as a team this year, and it was just a special moment to share with the guys and just show your appreciation for everything they've done over the course of this year. And really, a lot of these guys I've been with for 4 years, so that's really special to me, especially some of the guys up front like Cody and Leno. They've had my back since I've been here, and those guys, among many others, mean so much to me. So it's tough, and you try not to think about too far down the line and just take it one day at a time. And I know there's decisions that are going to be made this offseason, and I feel like I've gotten better over these 4 years and really this season. And it's been tough. There's been some ups and downs, but I'm proud of where I'm at and where we battled and how we got better over the years. So we'll just take it one day at a time this offseason. And I know God's got a plan for me, so I'm just continue to stay positive and keep working and keep believing.
That's all. Thanks, Mitch.
You know, it's always difficult coming off a loss in any at any point, but for us, you know, being at the end of the season, you know, there's a lot of emotions in that locker room, and just to appreciate these guys. It's been a long year, and I love every one of these guys, these players, these coaches, and been through a lot. So it's not where we want to be. So we understand we got to grow from this. We got to learn in a lot of different areas. But these guys, again, when they fight and they care about it, at this moment, I just appreciate them. And so as far as the game, third down on offense, we struggled, you know, to be 1 of 10. You know, when you have an opportunity to make some big plays, you got to be able to make those opportunities against a really good football team. You give credit to Sean Payton and that team. They got a lot of great things going there. They're tough, you know, and so in all 3 phases for us, we just didn't put it together. And we know that we got to be better, and we got to score more points. Defensively, I thought our guys came out and fought. We talked all week about getting the ball on the ground, getting turnovers, getting takeaways. You could feel the energy and the juice on the sideline. And so that part was good. Offensively, you know, we struggled to get that run game going, and we've been a lot better weeks prior, and we were able to work off of our boots and our nakeds and our play actions. And we struggled a little bit there. So that's where I think, you know, that combined with third down, and then we had the penalty in the red zone, and it forced us into a 3rd and 20. So times like that, you know, we got to learn from that. And then to have the offsides on 4th downs, just little things like that. And then with Anthony, having him get disqualified from the game, I think, you know, our guys got to learn from all of that and understand what it takes. So with that, I'll go ahead and ask questions.
First up, Jason Leisure.
Matt, you said you're not where you want to be. Taking into account the whole season and what happened today, do you believe this team is on track to become a contender, or do you believe that major changes are necessary to get there?
No, I think, well, here's what I would say to that question is, you know, making the playoffs is great, but what we did today has to be a lot better, you know? And so how do we do that? Every year is always going to be a little bit different. That's just a simple fact. Matter of fact, Jason, I just told the guys in the locker room that for us to get better and to be the team that we need to be, that's something that we'll do here in the offseason, is make sure that wherever there's a weakness, we make it a strength. And that's going to take everybody. So today wasn't good enough. And you look at a team like the Saints that has been there, done that on the coaching side, player-wise. I think that's a start for us to realize, hey, if you want to go ahead and do damage in the playoffs, you can see situationally, discipline-wise, all that kind of stuff, how we got to be better. So we have to be better in a lot of different areas, and that's my job, is to make sure that happens, and we got to learn from that. So I would say, yeah, I mean, every year is a little bit different. Yep.
You mentioned Anthony Miller, and you said he's got to learn from that. I mean, you guys already had this happen. You seemed like you felt almost betrayed when Javon Wims did this, and now how do you feel now to see Anthony Miller do it in a playoff game?
So here's what I would say to that. You know, we spent some time now on Wednesday morning as a team. We spent time literally showing and explaining a particular player's actions in games and teaching it. And you know, that's taking 10 or 15 minutes out of your day, which is precious, right? And so when you do that, I think it's a valuable lesson for our guys. Is we already knew going into this thing about some of that, right? What do we talk about? Every action has a reaction. And so I think it's a valuable learn, especially when we're low with numbers at the wide receiver position and the value of that zebra position for us. And so, again, it's something where our guys, we all got to understand, we got to be stronger, and we can't have that happen. And we got to understand that. And you're right. That's 2 times that happened, and we just can't have it.
Jeff Dickerson.
Matt, when you guys dial up that trick play and it's right there, and
Yeah.
I mean, Wins just drops it.
Yeah.
I mean, how damaging is that for you guys, knowing that you're facing an uphill battle as it is? You're on the road, you're against the Saints, it's the playoffs, and you're not come away with that play. What does that do for you guys at that moment?
So I'd be sitting here lying to you, Jeff, if I told you it didn't hurt. That hurt. But I'm never gonna, you know, of all the people, Javon Wims, we've had that's been sitting in the playbook now for weeks. We've been practicing that. We had it. We've been waiting for the right time, and our guys knew when it was coming early on. And so just one of those deals, you know, it's unfortunate because, again, another learning tool against a team like this, when there's an opportunity to be made, you have to make that play, right? And Javon knows that. I'm not saying anything that Javon doesn't know. He understands that. But we all need to learn that when that happened, Mitch did a great job of giving him a chance. He put great air on the ball, and Javon, you know, he didn't make the play. And so now the next step of that, what do we got to do? So when that happens, to teams that got to grow in that scenario, is you don't let that affect you. You don't let that deflate you. And so I really feel like everybody, coaches, players, you learn from that. You say, okay, who cares? Let's get the next one. And, you know, we just never ended up putting points on the board.
JJ.
Matt, the decision to run it 3 times there at the end of the first half, were you just hoping to get into halftime and then try to find some solutions and some answers as an offense at that point?
Yeah, it was the field position, JJ. I didn't like the field position. And I just thought that for us that we all need to understand. I was telling the coaches, hey, let's see where we can go here, big picture with let's get a first down or 2. And the field position was so bad that if you could see they called a timeout on first down, and then they were out of timeouts. And so being 7-3, knowing that we're getting the ball to start the third quarter, at that point in time, that was really the mindset, just because of the field position. Now you end up getting a first down or 2, and now it flips. Now you go from that 4-minute mode to that 2-minute mode. So yeah.
Kevin Fishbane.
Hey Matt, did you get any explanation from the officials on the penalty on Cole?
They said that the explanation that was told to me is that he was throwing the ball to the player. I couldn't see any replays, and I was told, I mean, Cole and our coaches on staff said that he was throwing the ball to the ref. And so I was told that he was throwing the ball to the player like it was taunting. And I haven't seen it till this point. I still haven't seen a replay on that. But I will say this, that was a big play in the game. And for us to have that field position we had, you know, now it's 3rd and 20. I was confused as to what happened. I still haven't seen it. So I got to see what happened there. I don't know. But you know, when Cole says he was throwing the ball to the ref, until I see it, I got to believe what he's saying.
Dan Wiedever.
Matt, until the very last moment, what about that trick play worked well and what allowed it to execute? And then just to follow up on the